The President Kim Jong Un will begin the summit meeting alone, just the two of them, and their translators in a room. What do we know about that? Rich, let's start there.
Just the two, Bill, and their translators. And then, according to the White House, the two leaders will bring in their senior staffs for a second round of discussions tomorrow. According to the White House, the U.S. negotiating team will include Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Chief of Staff John Kelly, National Security Advisor John Bolton, and then others, including the Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Secretary Pompeo says President Trump also spoke today with the President of South Korea and Prime Minister of Japan, and that he hopes tomorrow is the beginning of substantive conversations between the two. State Department officials tell us that U.S. and North Korean negotiating teams met this morning, again this afternoon. Officials will only say it lasted for a few hours and finished a couple of hours ago. Less than 12 hours from now, that's when the main event starts on an exclusive resort on an island just off the mainland coast here in Singapore, Bill.
I've been listening carefully, as we all have, to Secretary Pompeo and the words that come out of his mouth. He said yet again that the U.S. will offer security assurances to North Korea. In what form do we believe that may come?
He refused a number of times to specifically say what the U.S. would offer on that front, whether it would be any type of alteration to the joint military exercises that the United States holds with South Korea, that North Korea objects to in many forms, or whether it has something to do with U.S. military presence. Now, the U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis was in Singapore last week. He would only say that those troop levels in South Korea are not on the table in these discussions. Pompeo says he hopes tomorrow's summit will only open the conversation between the two leaders.
We are hopeful this summit will have set the conditions for future productive talks. In light of how many flimsy agreements the United States has made in previous years, this president will ensure that no potential agreement will fail to adequately address the North Korean threat. The ultimate objective we seek from diplomacy with North Korea has not changed. The complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korea Peninsula is the only outcome that the United States will accept.
Pompeo says if diplomacy fails in this fashion, moving in the right direction, the U.S. will increase its pressure on North Korea. The United States, according to the president right now, is not adding additional sanctions onto North Korea, just enforcing the ones that they've already put in place. After this, the Secretary of State travels on to Seoul, South Korea, and then on to Beijing to brief the leaders of South Korea and China.